Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's update. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the West Pacific tonight. This is Tropical Storm on, and as you can see, this is really close to making landfall on the Luzon Islands of the Philippines. And you can see that there's some really robust convection going on here, but we'll get to that here in just a moment. We're going to get to the particulars. It's located at 16.6 north, 122.7 east. Maximum sustained winds are 50 knots or 60 miles per hour. And the minimum surface pressure is 995 millibars. Now, this is old. This is old. I would do this at the 0Z update, but I don't have the time to do that. But we're looking at the old information. But I can assure you right now that this is a typhoon. I don't care what anybody says. I believe that this is a typhoon right now. And we're going to take a look at the peculiars here. And I do believe that land friction is helping convection-wise with Ma'an here. And as you can see, it just blew up in not only organization but convection as well. You can see all these whites and pinks shooting out here out of this system. Now let's see what the visible has for us. I think it might. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, just the overshoot of the convection and cloud tops here, and there is an eye forming. There is an eye underneath all of this, as microwave would show it. I didn't grab the microwave for this, but there is definitely an eye, a very decently structured eye under all of this too. And I would not, like I said, wouldn't be surprised if this is already a typhoon. You can see just the strength of the spin here. It's just amazing to look at, really. So let's take a look at some of these maps here. This is a GEFS track and minimal MSLP, and as you can see, most of these miss the Luzon Islands besides one. Now, what this implies, though, is if it does something like this, it might have a chance of becoming a major typhoon here as we head forward in time. It just depends on how much land interaction that it has going forward. Now we're going to take a look at the GEPS, and it's pretty much the same thing as GEFS. It pretty much all but one misses the islands and heads towards China. So GEPS is normally a bearish ensemble plot, but it does show something similar to the GEFS. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center here. And as you can see, they pretty much have this making landfall on the Luzon Islands. So what that would imply is it's at 50 knots right here, but they don't imply any weakening whatsoever. So they're expecting a 70 knot or 80 mile per hour peak before heading in to just south of Hong Kong here. And any wobbles to the north 10 or 20 miles, that would put Hong Kong more in the direct path of those more intense winds that may accompany this as we head out through the next couple of days. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the GEFS here. This was initialized at the 18Z hour, which is 2 p.m. And we can see right here that Ma'an is 988 millibars here. We'll see if we can't take any pressure readings. But as you can see, it pretty much either makes landfall barely or skims the coast, but it stays about the same. And once it gets out into the South China Sea, then that's where it starts to intensify. And it looks like we got a landfall at probably around 60 hours or so as a pretty decent typhoon. I think that might be a strong Category 1, probably going on lower end of the Category 2 status. And now we're going to see the rainfall totals for this thing as we have through time. For the Luzon Islands, you're picking up about 6 inches of rain, which is about 150 millimeters. But then once you get up towards China, that's when the accumulations are going to start to pile up a little bit. Because now you see on this very slither of land here, you got anywhere from 150 to maybe 200 millimeters of rain, which is about 6 to 8 inches. So it's definitely going to be a rainmaker as well as we head out through time. So here is the European. What we have here is 992 millibars, and it's it makes landfall there. That's for sure. But I can't tell if it's a skim or if it's really tucked in there or not. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a skim. But as we see, once it gets into the South China Sea again, it starts to intensify again. And this is Euro is normally very bearish on systems like this, and just most systems in general. It's pretty bearish. Now we're gonna take a look at the total accumulated precipitation here, and it pretty much shows the same picture as the GFS, about 6 inches or so on Luzon, and then probably 6 to 8 on China. So we're gonna have to pay attention to this for Hong Kong, that's for sure, because yeah, most of the rainfall totals are about 20 or 30 miles south of you, but that's not to say that it could not wobble those 20 or 30 miles back up north. The tropics are very unpredictable, and it just needs to be watched very closely, especially with this type of lead time. There's not a lot of lead time here for much change, and it's already super close to Hong Kong right now. You guys are definitely still going to feel some impacts from this, but to what degree depends on those wobbles that it takes, because it's still in the next 72 hours. It can take a lot of wobbles. All right, so here is the icon. This was initialized at 18Z. We got an initialization of 991 millibars, and pretty much it makes a landfall on the Luzon Islands, and then as expected in the South China Sea, it starts to intensify as it fills those very warm waters, which we will take a look at here in just a moment. As you can see, it makes landfall right there on the southern side of China, which can give a lot of rain here. We're going to take a look at that right now. Icon is pretty much painting the same picture as the GFS and European, about 6 to 8 inches of rain on those parts of South China. Luzon, I mean, they're definitely going to pick up some rain, but Icon has them picking up a lot less rain than the GFS and Euro. All right, so the last thing we're going to look at here is the sea surface temperatures and where this thing is going to be traveling. It's got 30s, 31s. You know, that's bath water there for these systems. So if it's able to, you know, bypass the islands, you know, even just a smidge, you know, it's gonna probably strengthen by a good bit here. And there's just like one more thing we're gonna take a look at here before we get out of here. In Western North Pacific, okay. So as you can see here, there's plenty of ocean cyclone heat potential here. We're talking about anywhere from 140s to 180s here of just constant warm water. So if you're upwelling, you're more than likely upwelling more warm water than you are upwelling colder water. So that's pretty much what ocean heat content, tropical heat potential is how much that warm water goes down with depth. So if a system is moving slow under all of this reds, it's just going to bring up more warm water, so to speak. So that being said, I want everybody in the Luzon Islands to pay attention to this. Everybody in Hong Kong and South, pay attention to this. This is going to be my area of focus for the next couple of days. And with that being said, tomorrow I'll be back with another update from Ma on as we head out through time. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.